You've probably seen those clickbait titles screaming, China's about to collapse. Economic doom, social chaos, the whole deal. But is China actually falling apart? Last video, I broke it down and said a big crash isn't likely anytime soon.
Why?
3 reasons. Unified national identity. Unlike some fragmented societies, China lacks deeply divisive ideologies. Most citizens share a strong sense of national pride, rooted in 100 years of history and a collective narrative of resilience. Cultural endurance. Shaped by Confucian values of patience and duty, Chinese people often absorb hardships through self-adjustment rather than confrontation. Exaggerated narratives. Many Western analyses overstate China's woes, missing the complexity of its internal mechanisms for stability. Hi everyone, I'm Claire. I was educated in both China and the US, lived in both countries, and now based in Singapore. Over the past 2 years, I've visited more than 15 Chinese cities, from megacities like Guangzhou and Chengdu to small county towns you've probably never heard of. Through first-hand experience, interviews, and extensive research, I've developed a nuanced understanding of what's happening in China's job market. Today, let's talk about the real situation behind China's employment numbers. Back in the 80s, China kicked off reform and opening, turning from a poor farming nation into a factory for your iPhones and sneakers. By 2025, its economy is worth $18 trillion, second only to the US. But growth slowed, down from 10% a year in the 2000s to about 4 or 5% now, hit by an aging population, trade fights, and a push for tech over factories. Culturally, China's shaped by Confucianism, a 2,500-year-old philosophy all about family, duty, and keeping things harmonious. It makes people super resilient, but also pressures them to fit in. Politically, the Communist Party runs a tight ship, controlling media and the internet to keep dissent low. You've got state-owned companies next to private giants like Alibaba, but recent crackdowns on tech and real estate have cut jobs. Here's the big kicker. China's getting old fast. The one-child policy means fewer young workers, creating a 4-2-1 setup, 1 kid supporting 2 parents and 4 grandparents. By 2025, 15% of people are over 65, and the birth rate's a measly 1.0, way below the 2.1 needed to keep the population steady. This makes jobs a huge deal, as fewer workers prop up more retirees. Got it? Let's zoom into the job scene, starting with the young crowd. Let's start with the basics. According to China's National Bureau of Statistics, the overall urban unemployment rate in 2024 was 5.2%. Not bad, right? But for 16-24-year-olds not in school, it hit 18.8% in August, remarkably high before dropping to 16.1%. Compare that to 6.7% for 25-29-year-olds and 3.8% for 30-59-year-olds. And there's another catch. China's methodology counts anyone who earned any income during the survey period as employed. That includes part-time workers, freelancers, street vendors, and gig economy workers like food delivery riders. In short, a lot of people technically have jobs, but those jobs may be low-paid, unstable, or insecure. But they definitely can support people as China's living cost is low. Today, over 200 million people in China are classified as part of the flexible employment workforce. That's roughly 1/4 of the total employed population. Let's break it down. Over 13 million food delivery riders. Around 5 million ride-hailing drivers. More than 4 million express couriers. Plus countless live streamers, online tutors, and gig workers in emerging fields. While flexibility sounds appealing, the reality, for many, is harsh. Income is highly unstable and seasonal. Most lack basic benefits like health insurance or pensions. Career development is almost non-existent. For example, a full-time food delivery rider might earn anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000 renminbi per month depending on weather, accidents, and algorithm changes. Warehouse workers, security guards, and street vendors often make even less. This employment might tick statistical boxes, but for individuals, it means living on the edge financially and emotionally. Here's another critical trend: massive expansion in higher education. In 2024, China produced 11.79 million new college graduates, as a record high. That's almost double the number from 2012, but the economy hasn't created enough high-quality jobs to absorb them. Instead, we're seeing clear signs of degree inflation. A bachelor's degree now qualifies you for jobs that used to require only a diploma. A master's degree is often needed just to land a basic office job. In short, higher education no longer guarantees upward mobility. I interviewed some young graduates during my travels. In Guangzhou, a woman from an ordinary university told me she applied for over 50 jobs and finally secured a sales assistant role paying about 4,000 renminbi per month, barely more than her cousin, who didn't go to college. In Zhengzhou, a young man with a master's degree opened a small food stall while preparing for the grueling civil service exams. This kind of high education, low starting point, then government exam loop is becoming increasingly common. If youth unemployment is visible, middle-aged unemployment is much more silent and arguably more dangerous. In China's tech, finance, and manufacturing sectors, mass layoffs have been ongoing since 2022. Most companies quietly prioritize laying off workers over 35 years old. They cost more in salaries and benefits. They are perceived as less flexible and energetic. They often struggle to switch careers or retrain. Finding a new job past 35 becomes a challenging task. Many laid-off middle-aged workers are forced into low-wage gigs, delivering parcels, driving for Didi, similar to Uber, working as security guards. Unlike younger people, they carry heavier family burdens, mortgages, aging parents, children's education costs. To this population, the psychological toll is enormous, leading to widespread anxiety, depression, and sometimes even tragic incidents. To ease employment pressure, the Chinese government has been expanding civil servant recruitment and state-owned enterprise hiring. In 2023, civil servant positions increased by 15% year-over-year. State-owned enterprises ramped up fresh graduate hiring by 10%. In provinces like Shandong and Hunan, competition is fierce. For some public service positions, the acceptance rate is as low as 1 in 200 or even 1 in 300. Meanwhile, many SOEs offer safe jobs, albeit often with stagnant salaries and bureaucratic environments. On one hand, this absorbs some of the surplus graduates. On the other hand, it means channeling educated talent into low-innovation, low-efficiency sectors, a worrying trend for long-term economic vitality. Beyond internal structural issues, external shocks have also played a major role. The U.S.-China trade war, initiated in 2018 and escalating since, hit China's export industries hard. Key sectors like electronics, textiles, furniture, and toys saw significant order declines. Many orders shifted to countries like Vietnam, India, and Mexico. Some major manufacturers moved parts of their operations abroad to avoid tariffs. This meant millions of lost jobs, especially in the manufacturing-heavy provinces like Guangdong, Zhejiang, and Jiangsu. During my visit to Dingguan, a once thriving factory hub, I met Xiaoli, a former assembly line worker at a smartphone plant. After the plant relocated to Southeast Asia, Xiaoli became a part-time delivery worker earning barely 4,000 renminbi a month, with no job security and no benefits. While China is investing heavily in emerging sectors like EVs, solar energy, and AI, these industries require higher skill sets and smaller workforces. They simply can't absorb the millions of displaced low to mid-skilled workers fast enough. However, even without the trade war, China is consciously moving low-end manufacturing overseas, which is a strategy that I will further elaborate on in a subsequent series. With 18.8% youth unemployment and older folks struggling, you'd expect riots, right? Like in some places where joblessness sparks chaos. But China's holding steady, thanks to some unique tricks. 1. Confucian grit. Confucianism teaches patience and duty. People suck it up instead of hitting the streets. As scholar Fei Xiaodong put it in From the Soil, 1947, Chinese culture picks stability over personal gripes. 2. Family backup. That 4-2-1 structure? It's a lifesaver. Jobless youth crash with parents who cover rent or share pensions. City women retire at 50 or 55 years old, pulling in pensions like 5,000 renminbi a month in Shanghai, sometimes as much as a job. Some kids go full-time children, doing chores for mom and dad's cash or lie flat, opting out of the rat race. 3. Government moves. Job pipelines. Civil service and state-owned company hiring jumped 10% in 2023-2024. In places like Hunan, 200 people fight for one government gig. Internships. Programs put grads in community jobs with small pay. Gig push. The government's all in on platforms like Meituan and Didi. Meituan's even testing insurance for riders to make it feel safer. 4. Internet control. China keeps a tight lid on online chatter. Social media is more about viral dances on Douyin than organizing protests. 5. Cheap basics. Food like rice and pork stays affordable thanks to mild deflation. Government handouts for cars or fridges keep people spending. It's not luxury, but it's not starvation either. In a third-tier city in China, the rent for a shared apartment is only 1,000 renminbi and food and other expenses are only a few hundred RMB. The income from work is about 3,000 renminbi. Of course, this is just the basic living standard. Check out Xiaolin, a 24-year-old in Chongqing. She ditched journalism dreams to deliver food, making 4,000 renminbi. She still posts selfies and orders takeout, saying, "My parents just want me alive. I'll sort it out." That hang-in-there vibe, tied to Confucianism and memories of harder days like the 1960s famine, keeps China steady. So, has the employment situation in China really collapsed? No, this situation seems acceptable, at least for the next few years. But if this continues, it will undergo a long, painful structural adjustment. Instead of a sudden crash, it's got a chronic illness. Confucian grit, family safety nets, and government hustle keep it steady. From delivery apps soaking up workers to parents funding lying flat kids, China's dodging the chaos bullet. But this job crisis, lousy gigs, older folks stuck, no babies, is like a slow poison eating away at energy and growth. But does China still have a chance? Yes, I think so. Will China experience a lost decade, 20 or even 30 years like Japan? No, because the situation is different. The key is that China finally has the technology to innovate. Don't say that China's technology is all cheating or stealing, and there is enough patience to plan, rather than being coerced by chaebols and giants. I will talk about this in a later video.
I'm Claire.
Next video, we're tackling how Chinese people spend and what they're thinking. Drop your thoughts below. What's China's job scene look like to you? Smash that like button and subscribe my channel for further China analysis.